Hey everyone, welcome back to Tony's Story channel. Thanks for stopping by. Today, I've got something really exciting to share with you. So make sure to stick around. And if you enjoy the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to help me stay motivated and keep bringing you more awesome content. Hit that notification bell too so you never miss an update. Beneath the house, the thing in the dark. I moved in on a Thursday. Just me, a U-Haul of furniture I barely cared about, and a box of half-forgotten regrets. The place was a steal. 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, backyard, quiet neighborhood. Too quiet. The landlord was one of those guys who talked too fast and had eyes that didn't quite look at you when he spoke. But I was desperate and broke, and it wasn't like I had a dozen options. The house was older, obviously. You could smell it. The faint dust, the damp wood in the walls. Something stale that the air freshener plugs couldn't mask. I didn't notice the door to the sub-basement until the third night. I was rearranging boxes in the hallway closet when the back panel groaned open. Just a creaky piece of plywood, barely held in place by rusted nails. Behind it was a narrow descending passage, steep wooden steps covered in dust and cobwebs. It wasn't part of the floor plan. I checked. The air wafting from below was different. Colder, heavier, smelled faintly metallic. Not like blood, more like rot and rust. I should have sealed it back up, called the landlord, done anything but what I actually did. I went down. The steps groaned beneath me. There was no light switch, just darkness and the soft, persistent throb of silence. I reached the bottom and clicked on my phone's flashlight. The beam cut through the thick air to reveal a narrow, unfinished basement. But the weird thing was, it didn't match the house's layout at all. It was too long, like it extended under the neighbors' homes, or beneath the entire block. The walls were lined with metal panels, not drywall, not brick. Smooth, featureless steel. Some were bent, like they'd been kicked or clawed. Others had smears of something dark brown, dried and flaky. And at the far end was a door, solid, rusted, with a circular wheel like something on a submarine. The moment I touched it, I heard something from the other side. A dragging sound, wet, slow. I didn't open the door that night, but I kept going back. Every night. The house above was quiet, but the vents had started making noise. I'd lie in bed and hear whispering drifting up through the grates, like voices arguing under their breath. One voice always sounded closer, angry, male. The other was softer, pleading. I couldn't make out words, just emotion. I stopped sleeping, started pacing, listening. One night, I opened the door at the bottom of the passage. It opened into a vast concrete chamber, easily twice the size of the entire house. No lights, just the thin beam from my phone cutting across damp, mold-stained walls. There were objects down there, rows of dusty mattresses, a rusted tricycle, a collapsed playpen, chains bolted into the floor, a fridge, unplugged and slightly ajar. In the center of the room was a hole, a perfect circle in the concrete, 4 feet across. No ladder, no light, no bottom, and beside it, carved into the concrete wall in what looked like fingernail scratches, were the words, "Don't listen to him, he lies." I hear him now. Every night. He knocks from beneath the house, 5 times in a row. Always 5. I thought it was the plumbing. Until he started saying my name. The whispers from the vents have grown clearer. They say things I don't want to hear. Things I've never told anyone. I've seen the shadow move in the hallway. A tall shape, slick and wet. Like something that's been crawling through pipes and ash for too long. I haven't sealed the basement door again. I don't know if I even could, because he says there's something worse than him down there. And he says if I don't help him out, it's coming up instead. I've started hearing the knocks from under the bed now. And I'm beginning to think the house was never meant to be lived in at all. The knocking stopped for 3 nights. That should have been a relief, right? I should have felt safe. Finally had the guts to sleep more than an hour at a time. But it didn't feel like a break. It felt like he was waiting. Like whatever was beneath the house was crouched in the dark, watching me through the cracks in the floorboards, biding its time. I didn't leave. I should have packed up, left the key on the counter, vanished. But I didn't. I was obsessed. On the 4th night, I woke up with mud on my hands. I didn't remember getting out of bed. Didn't remember opening the hallway closet or pushing back the false wall. But there I was, lying in the living room with dirt under my fingernails and smears of black grime up my wrists. The front door was chained from the inside. I'm not a sleepwalker. I've never had issues like that. And even if I did, I wouldn't be capable of unlocking the sealed hatch. Yeah, you read that right. The metal hatch beneath the door in the chamber is open now. The first night the hatch opened, I stayed upstairs. I didn't even want to look. Just pretended like it wasn't happening. Then the smell started. Not rot exactly, but like wet stone and old blood. And something like copper. It flooded the vents. It seeped up through the floor. I had to throw out the food in the fridge. Everything tasted like iron. Then came the shadows. I saw it the first time around 2:14 a.m. I remember the exact time because I'd been watching the microwave clock while microwaving tea like a coward. From the corner of the kitchen, I saw something slide down the hallway. Not walk, slide. No feet, no arms. Just a long black silhouette that stretched itself impossibly thin as it passed. It didn't turn to look at me, but it knew I was there. I felt it. He finally spoke to me in a dream. Or maybe it wasn't a dream. I honestly can't tell anymore. I was standing in the chamber again. The hatch was open, but this time there were stairs leading down. Slippery, wet metal stairs, like the inside of a tank. And down at the bottom was a man in a straitjacket, staring up at me. No eyes, just bruised skin where they should have been. His voice sounded like it was coming from behind me, even though I could see his lips moving. "You opened the wrong door. Now you're responsible for what's coming. Feed it, or be it." I woke up on the basement floor. Again, no memory of going down. My feet were bare. My skin was freezing. And behind me, where the hatch had been, were wet footprints leading back up the stairs. I finally pried open the wall safe behind the water heater. It had been rusted shut when I moved in. Inside was a notebook. Water damaged, pages wrinkled and stuck together. The handwriting was messy, frantic. The first few entries were just observations. The man who lived here before me wrote about the same hatch, the same noises, the same dreams. He called it the cold thing, said it lived beneath but never stayed there long. One entry stood out. "It takes a shape you'll follow. It learns what you love and wears it like skin. Don't let it know what you're afraid of. It will become it." Another entry was written weeks later, just 2 words. "It's upstairs." The final page was torn. I haven't been back down since I found the footprints, but I know it's been up. I left a trail of salt across the basement stairs. Not because I believe in that sort of thing, but because I needed some way to know. In the morning, it was gone. Not disturbed, gone. Like the salt had been vacuumed away. My reflection isn't quite right anymore. Sometimes, when I walk past a mirror, it lags. Just by a split second. Like it's trying to keep up, like it's learning. I've started keeping the lights on at night, but I still see it in the corners. It wears my old clothes now, smells like my soap. Sometimes I wake up and my bed feels too crowded. It doesn't knock anymore. It whispers. Sometimes it comes from the vents, sometimes from the toilet, sometimes from the tiny sliver of crawl space behind the dryer. But no matter where it's coming from, it always says the same thing. "You brought me up. You owe me." I'm hungry. I haven't opened the hatch again. I won't. But it doesn't matter. The cold thing is out, and now it's trying to act like it belongs here. It started small. Clothes missing from my laundry, shoes placed by the front door, worn in a way I don't remember. But then it got more personal. I'd catch it pretending. I'd see it from the street as I came back from errands. A figure moving behind the curtains. Not burglar level suspicious, familiar. Once, I came in and found my own voice talking back to a telemarketer on the phone. Casual, polite, sounded just like me. Just a little off. Like a bad impersonation done well enough to pass at a glance. I waited in the hallway frozen. When I finally worked up the courage to open the door, the phone was back on its hook. My favorite hoodie, the one I swore I hadn't worn in weeks, was folded neatly on the couch, and there was a coffee mug, still warm, sitting beside it. I don't keep framed photos, never have, but one morning, there was a picture on the fridge, magneted right in the center. A photo I don't remember taking. It was me, smiling. Real smile too, not forced. The background was my bedroom. The photo was new. The bed sheets were still crumpled the way I'd left them that morning. That would have been horrifying enough. But the back of the photo had something written in small, childish letters. "We look so happy together." Don't ruin it now. I checked the cameras. I installed a few hidden ones after the last event. But the feed was blank between 2:13 and 2:27 a.m. Just static. I've been alone here since moving in. Or so I thought. Yesterday, while I was dragging trash cans to the curb, an old woman approached me. Thin, eyes like marbles. She looked up at the house with her lips pursed. "You shouldn't be here," she said, no introduction. I started to explain I was just renting and she cut me off. "They built over it, but they never sealed it. You can cover it, you can paint it, you can lock the door, but it always gets out eventually." I asked her if she meant the crawl space. She gave me this awful little smile. "That's not a crawl space, that's a throat." And then she just turned and walked back into the trees. I tried to sleep at a motel. Took only the essentials. Told myself I'd come back once I found another place to stay. But I didn't even make it through the night. At 3:33 a.m., my phone started ringing. No name. Just a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. When I checked it in the morning, the recording was 14 minutes long. Most of it was breathing. But at 12:07, my voice came through, whispering, "I'm cold out here. Let me back in. I can't find the key. They won't feed me." I hadn't said any of that. At least, not out loud. Last night, the scratching started again. Not under the floorboards, in the walls. Like rats, but too precise, too rhythmic. I put my ear to the drywall. I wish I hadn't. Behind the plaster, behind the insulation, I heard something breathing and whispering. Not words, not this time. Just the sound of lips moving in a wet mouth. When I backed away, I noticed something written on the mirror in the hallway. It wasn't steam. It was etched into the glass. Shallow and fresh. "You're not leaving. You're the house now." I am writing this from my car. The keys are in the ignition. The engine's running. But I haven't driven off yet, because I know if I turn my head even a little, I'll see it in the rearview mirror, wearing my face, smiling, waiting for me to finish. It waited until I gave up. I came back to the house. Not out of bravery, not out of curiosity. I came back because my car wouldn't start, and my phone died, and the motel room door slammed shut behind me when I tried to leave at dawn. So here I am again, and the hatch is open. I didn't open it. I didn't even touch it. But the square of plywood that once covered the hole in the laundry room floor, that makeshift door to something else, is now propped neatly against the wall, as if to say, "Finally." I brought a flashlight, a crowbar, and a knife I barely know how to hold properly. None of it made a difference. Once I stepped into the opening, it didn't feel like a space beneath the house anymore. It felt like the house itself had inverted, like I was climbing into its mouth. The walls were too tight. The air was sour, moist. Things brushed against my legs. I told myself it was insulation. It wasn't. The passage went deeper than the blueprints should allow. I kept crawling, the light on my phone flickering. The walls turned from dirt to stone to something like flesh, soft but firm, slick but dry. Then I found the room. There were toys on the floor, toys I recognized. A stuffed bear I lost when I was 6. A wooden truck I swear I watched burn in a fire when I was 11. All lined up like a shrine. In the center of the room, there was a chair, my old chair, the one from my childhood bedroom, the one my mother had carved my name into. I don't know how long I sat there, but the walls pulsed softly around me, like lungs, and I started to hear it again. Not whispers this time, not words. Chewing, wet, slow, hungry chewing. And it wasn't coming from all around me. It was behind me. I turned, slowly. I don't know what I expected. A person, a shape, something I could fight or flee from. But it was worse than that. There was a mirror standing in the middle of the floor, cracked but upright. And in the reflection, I saw myself. Only, it wasn't me. It had my face, but younger, not quite right. The eyes were wrong, too large. The grin was all teeth. It was eating something out of a bowl in its lap, and it was my name. I watched, horrified, as it picked up my name. Not a sound, not a word, but an actual thing, small and shivering, and put it into its mouth. Tastes like doubt. Then it looked at me. Go on, it said in my voice. You left the door open. Come take what's yours. I don't remember climbing back out. I don't remember falling asleep, but I woke up this morning in my bed. The house is quiet again. The hatch is sealed shut. The mirror is gone, but I don't feel right. I went to the kitchen and saw a note on the fridge. You made the switch, we're proud of you. Let it in, and it lets you out. Fair trade. I don't remember writing that, but it's in my handwriting. And when I tried to call someone, anyone, I couldn't say my name. It's gone. I think it ate it. I think something else is wearing it now. The landlord just called. He said someone else has signed a lease for the house. Said he was surprised I wanted to stay. But hey, you're the one who said you'd handle the tour. I didn't say that, but I heard my voice on the voicemail, and I think I know what that means. The throat is sealed, for now. But the house is still hungry, and if I don't feed it, it'll spit me back out. I heard the knock at exactly 2:13 a.m., not the doorbell. A knock. 3 sharp raps, deliberate, spaced out. Like the person on the other side knew I was awake. Like they were waiting. I didn't move at first. Just stared at the ceiling, heart pounding, sweat pooling in the small of my back. Then the knock came again, closer. Not from the front door, from inside the house. The voice came next. Hey, is this the place with the rental? It was a guy. Mid-20s maybe. Confused, curious. I didn't answer. But the house did. The hallway light flicked on by itself. The front door unlocked with a soft click. I don't even remember getting out of bed. But 1 minute I was staring at the ceiling. The next I was standing in the living room. He was already inside. Tall, thin, backpack slung over one shoulder. He smiled when he saw me. Sorry, the landlord said you'd be up. I didn't mean to freak you out. I opened my mouth, but no words came. He held out a hand. Name's Trevor. And all I could think was, don't shake it. If you touch him, it's done. But I shook it, and the house shivered. Trevor made himself comfortable immediately, kicked off his shoes, wandered into the kitchen like he already lived here. He complimented the floors, the layout, the vibe. You ever get that feeling like a house is watching you? Like it wants to be lived in? This place has that energy. I wanted to scream, to tell him to get out before it noticed. But I couldn't. I was the host now. That's what the house made me. Trevor asked about the laundry room. "Oh, don't go in there," I said. But it wasn't my voice that said it. It was mine, but emptier, calmer, practiced. "The hatch is sealed. Probably mold down there." He nodded, took a beer out of the fridge that I never bought, and plopped down on the couch. "Anyway, thanks for letting me crash tonight. I'll talk to the landlord in the morning." There's no landlord. There's just me. And it. That night, I woke up standing in the laundry room. Trevor was asleep. The hatch was open. But it wasn't just open, it was calling. That chewing sound again. Wet, satisfied. The walls pulsed. Something crawled up and whispered just below the floorboards. "You brought it company. That's good. But you have to stay useful." I woke again in bed. My feet were filthy. The soles were bleeding. Trevor disappeared the next day. His shoes were still by the door. His bag was untouched. But he was gone. No note, no call, no sound of the door opening. Just gone. Except for the trail of water on the floor. A dark, slick path leading from the laundry room to the edge of the living room, where it stopped abruptly. I tried to leave. I swear I did. But the house, it's not a house anymore. It's a mouth. And it knows I'm trying to spit out the bait and save myself. Tonight, I checked my email. There's a message I don't remember writing. It's titled, "Room for rent, quiet neighborhood, all utilities included." There's a photo of the house, taken from just the right angle, so you can't see the cracks, so you can't feel the wrongness. At the bottom it says, "Ask for the current tenant. He'll give you the tour." There's only one reply so far. A girl named Mia. She says she's looking for a fresh start. Just got out of a bad relationship. Doesn't have a lot of money. But she doesn't need much. Just a place to rest her head. And that's what the house wants. It wants heads. She arrives the next evening. Backpack slung over her shoulder. Nervous smile. Dressed in black jeans, old hoodie, and eyes that have seen too much. Just like me once. "Hey," she says, brushing her hair behind one ear. "I'm Mia. You must be the tenant." I nod. My mouth is dry. I don't remember unlocking the door, but it's open. Of course it is. The house knows what it wants. I give her the tour. It's like a loop I can't break, like I've done this before. And I have, with Trevor, with Jamal, with the red-haired woman I can't remember the name of. Each time I repeat the same phrases, utilities included, no noisy neighbors. It's quiet here. Don't go in the laundry room, it's sealed. She raises her eyebrow at that. "Sealed how?" I shrug. "Mold, maybe rats." "I can handle rats." "No, Mia, you can't. Not the ones that breathe underwater." The house loves first nights. She unpacks in the guest room. The one where the light never fully turns off. The one where the closet breathes if you listen long enough. I lie in bed and listen. Not to her, to it. To the wet sounds in the walls. The nails clicking across the floorboards inside the vents. The voice. She's stronger than the others. Let's see if she stays that way. That night, I dream of bones growing in the wrong directions, of a door inside the hatch that opens into black water, and worse things swimming. When I wake up, Mia is sitting on my floor, not sleepwalking, watching me. "I heard something," she whispers. "In the laundry room." Her eyes are wide, but not scared. Not yet. 2 days later, she comes to me with a question. "Do you smell that?" I do. A coppery, wet earth smell, like something rotting deep underground. The scent rides the air from the laundry room like it owns the hallway. She follows it. I try to stop her. "Seriously, I just want to see it," she insists. Before I can answer, she's already opened the laundry room door. I almost scream, but the room looks normal. No hatch, no drain, no blood. Just a washer, dryer, and the same cracked tile. "Weird," she mutters. "Thought you said there was a hatch." There was. It's still there, I swear it. But now it's hiding, waiting. It only shows itself when it's hungry. Mia doesn't sleep that night. I hear her pacing. Around 3 a.m., she knocks on my door. She's pale, sweaty. "Can I show you something?" She hands me her phone. It's a recording. She says she left it running in the laundry room overnight. I hit play. At first, it's just silence. Then a soft scraping. Something climbing tile. Then a voice. Not Mia's. Not mine. Something older, wet, breathless. "Let me up. Let me wear you. Let me walk again." Mia's staring at me now. "You said this place was quiet." I look her in the eye. That wasn't a lie. That night, I finally tell her the truth. Not everything, but more than I should. I tell her the house wasn't built on this spot. It grew here, or was dug up. No one really knows. I tell her I wasn't the first. That before me, there were others who rented it. That some left, some disappeared. "Then why are you still here?" she asks. I don't answer, because if I do, she'll know the worst truth of all. That the house only lets one of us leave. That every new tenant is a trade. And I've stayed too long. I wake to the sound of bubbling water. I race to the laundry room. The hatch is back. The floor is split open again, gaping wide. It smells like salt, blood, and rust. And Mia is standing at the edge. She turns slowly. "You should have told me everything," she says. Behind her, something is climbing. Long fingers, no skin. A mouth full of spirals and bone. I reach for her. "Don't," I start, but she smiles. "I'm not afraid of monsters," she says. "I've lived with worse." She jumps in. The hatch slams shut. After the hatch slammed shut, the house went still. Not just quiet, dead. The walls stopped breathing. The floor stopped creaking. Even the wind outside seemed to hold its breath. It felt like penance or digestion. I stood there for hours, couldn't move, couldn't think. She jumped. She smiled when she did. What kind of person smiles before being swallowed alive? Unless she wasn't scared. Unless she knew something I didn't. That night, I fell asleep on the couch with all the lights on. Woke up sometime after 3 a.m. to the sound of something moving through the vents. I held my breath, heart in my throat. Then I heard it. A voice, barely above a whisper. So faint, I thought it was in my head until it said, "I'm not dead." I bolted upright. "Mia?" The voice didn't answer. Instead, from the hallway, the vent cover clattered to the floor, and her phone slid out. No scratches, no cracks. Battery still at 47. On the screen, a new voice memo saved at 3:33 a.m. I waited until the sun came up. Then I hit play. It started with wet static, like water bubbling underwater. Then Mia's voice, distant but calm. If you're hearing this, I'm still alive. Or I was when I hit record. Silence. Then footsteps. Her voice again, shakier this time. It's not just a void. There are rooms down here. Old ones. Older than the house. Older than the town. Stone halls and wooden doors that breathe when you get close. There's things in here. Some walk. Some crawl. Some don't move unless you're watching. A deep rattling. Like something huge dragging itself over stone. It wants something. The house. It wants out. I think it's been trying to get back to the surface through us. Another pause. Then, but I don't think it expected me. I've been down here before. It just doesn't remember. The message ends in silence. No scream. No cut. Just a long, low breath before the audio stops. And one last whisper. Open the hatch. The hatch hasn't opened again. But something has changed. The laundry room door no longer closes. And at night, when I stand in the hall, I hear her footsteps beneath the floor. She's pacing, waiting, listening. Sometimes I hear her knocking from the other side of the tile. Once I pressed my ear against the floor and whispered, "Why?" She knocked 4 times. I don't know what it means, but I dream of it every night. A hallway of black stone. Walls slick with brine. Mia standing at the end, smiling. Eyes black and shining like oil. And something behind her, hunched over and faceless, waiting for her to step aside. I haven't called the police, or a priest, or anyone. I think if I did, it would punish me. Mia went down into whatever the house is built on. She left a message, a breadcrumb, a warning, maybe an invitation, and part of me wants to follow her, wants to know if she found a way to survive, or worse, a way to become part of it. If she sends another message, I'll share it here. If I disappear, know this, the house is still here. The hatch is still hungry. And something walks beneath the floor, pretending to be someone I once knew. Would you like to continue with part 8? The 4 knocks. Trust me, it's not just a sound, it's a code. It started again the next night. 4 distinct knocks, not once, not twice, but every night at the exact same time, 2:33 a.m. I recorded them the 3rd night. Played the file back over and over, trying to make sense of it. They weren't just knocks, they were measured. 3 slow knocks, 1 fast, then silence. And always, right under the same spot on the living room floor, dead center. I pulled the rug back, ripped the tile up with a crowbar. There was wood underneath, old and rotted. I tapped it back. 3 slow, 1 fast. For the first time since Mia vanished, I got a reply. 3 slow, 1 fast. I found the hatch again. Not the one in the laundry room. That one stayed sealed shut like a mouth that had already fed. This one was beneath the floorboards, under the tiles. No latch, no handle. Just an old wooden square smeared with something black and sticky. I stared at it for an hour before I opened it. Below, darkness. The kind that sucks in light, like it's hungry, and the smell, salt, mold, rot, and something sweet beneath it all. I dropped a flashlight in. It never hit the ground, just blinked out. But when I whispered Mia's name, the knocks came again. This time from below. 3 slow, 1 fast. I started researching old Morse, forgotten naval codes, seance patterns, came across a forum for abandoned structures and underground cryptography. One user messaged me, said the pattern matched an old distress signal used by Cold War submarine crews. "Are you safe?" I didn't reply to the user. I didn't have to, because the answer was already coming up through the floor. Night after night. 3 slow, 1 fast. She's asking me, "Are you safe?" Last night, I fell asleep in the living room, curled up on the torn-up floor with my flashlight and crowbar. I woke up to breathing. Not mine, not human. Wet, heavy, slow. I opened my eyes and the hatch was open, and there was a hand on the edge. Long fingers, too many joints, nails like burnt glass. But here's the thing, I wasn't afraid, because wrapped around its wrist was something I recognized. A friendship bracelet. Mia made it for me back in high school. Purple and green. Faded now. But it was hers. Still is. I don't know what this thing is. If it's still Mia. If it ever was. But I'm going down there. I've packed a bag, rope, flashlights, recorder, enough food and water for 3 days. I'll leave this journal entry open on my computer. If I don't update within 72 hours, assume I've joined her, or it. Whatever waits beneath this house isn't done with me. And somehow, I think I've always been part of it. It's taken me nearly an hour to calm my shaking hands enough to type this. I'm beneath the floor now, down in that hatch. I tied the rope to the old radiator in the living room and lowered myself down. It wasn't far, maybe 10 feet. But when I hit the dirt, it didn't feel like I was under the house anymore. It felt like I was beneath something far older. The air down here is thick, almost gelatinous. Each breath tastes like wet copper and grave moss. The walls aren't made of concrete or stone. They're made of something that looks like root systems, but they're warm to the touch, and they pulse like veins. The only light I've got is from my flashlight, and even that seems to die the farther I shine it ahead. It's like the darkness is alive, swallowing it, and it's not silent, not anymore. I can hear her. I think it's Mia. It's distant, almost a whisper carried by wind. But there's no wind down here. "Garrett," that's all she says, again and again. Sometimes soft, sometimes shrill, like it's coming through gritted teeth. Sometimes there's more than one voice saying it in unison. "Garrett, I don't know how long I've been walking. My watch stopped ticking. My phone's dead, but the tunnel keeps going, and it's changing. The further I go, the more the walls look carved, like someone or something made this place. There are symbols etched into the dirt. Some look vaguely familiar, like a mix of runes and cave art, but others make my skin crawl just looking at them. Some part of my brain sees them and wants to forget. I took a wrong turn, or maybe the tunnel turned on me, because I ended up in a wider section, a chamber. There was something standing in the middle of it. At first, I thought it was a person, but no, too tall, too thin. Its limbs were too long, fingers dragging along the ground like spider legs. It wasn't looking at me. It was smelling, sniffing the air. Its head twitched like it was trying to remember my scent. I didn't breathe. I didn't move, not even an inch. Eventually, it shambled into another tunnel, and I bolted in the opposite direction. But not before I saw what was tied around its neck. A locket, Mia's. I gave it to her on our 6-month anniversary. There are more of them down here, not the tall thing. That one seemed important, like a keeper. But others, crawling, dragging themselves through the tunnels. Some moan, some whisper. One of them laughed. A dry, awful child's giggle that echoed off every inch of the tunnel until I wanted to rip out my ears. I've seen fragments of life down here. Clothes, broken furniture, even what looks like an old baby crib wedged into the dirt. It's like this place collects people, memories, things that once belonged to the missing. I've just found it, a door, not wood or metal. It looks like it's made of bone and teeth, stitched together with wire or hair. I can't tell. There's something written above it, but it's in that same symbol language from before. Even looking at it too long makes my nose bleed, but I can hear her behind it. Mia, singing now, the same lullaby she used to hum when she couldn't sleep. I know it's her, even if it's not, and I know what I have to do. I'm going to open the door, if this is the last thing I ever write. Please know, I didn't go down here just to find her. I went down here because I think I was always meant to. After the hatch slammed shut, the house went still, not just quiet. Dead. The walls stopped breathing. The floor stopped creaking. Even the wind outside seemed to hold its breath. It felt like penance or digestion. I stood there for hours, couldn't move, couldn't think. She jumped. She smiled when she did. What kind of person smiles before being swallowed alive? Unless she wasn't scared. Unless she knew something I didn't. That night, I fell asleep on the couch with all the lights on. Woke up sometime after 3 a.m. to the sound of something moving through the vents. I held my breath, heart in my throat. Then I heard it. A voice. Barely above a whisper. So faint, I thought it was in my head until it said, "I'm not dead." I bolted upright. "Mia?" The voice didn't answer. Instead, from the hallway, the vent cover clattered to the floor, and her phone slid out. No scratches, no cracks. Battery still at 47%. On the screen, a new voice memo saved at 3:33 a.m. I waited until the sun came up. Then I hit play. It started with wet static, like water bubbling underwater. Then Mia's voice, distant but calm. "If you're hearing this, I'm still alive. Or I was when I hit record." Silence, then footsteps. Her voice again, shakier this time. "It's not just a void. There are rooms down here. Old ones. Older than the house. Older than the town. Stone halls and wooden doors that breathe when you get close. There's things in here. Some walk, some crawl. Some don't move unless you're watching. A deep rattling. Like something huge dragging itself over stone. It wants something. The house. It wants out. I think it's been trying to get back to the surface through us." Another pause, then. "But I don't think it expected me. I've been down here before. It just doesn't remember." The message ends in silence. No scream, no cut. Just a long, low breath before the audio stops. And one last whisper, "Open the hatch." The hatch hasn't opened again. But something has changed. The laundry room door no longer closes. And at night, when I stand in the hall, I hear her footsteps beneath the floor. She's pacing, waiting, listening. Sometimes I hear her knocking from the other side of the tile. Once I pressed my ear against the floor and whispered, "Why?" She knocked 4 times. I don't know what it means, but I dream of it every night. A hallway of black stone, walls slick with brine. Mia standing at the end, smiling, eyes black and shining like oil, and something behind her, hunched over and faceless, waiting for her to step aside. I haven't called the police, or a priest, or anyone. I think if I did, it would punish me. Mia went down into whatever the house is built on. She left a message, a breadcrumb, a warning, maybe an invitation, and part of me wants to follow her, wants to know if she found a way to survive, or worse, a way to become part of it. If she sends another message, I'll share it here. If I disappear, know this: the house is still here. The hatch is still hungry, and something walks beneath the floor, pretending to be someone I once knew. It started again the next night. 4 distinct knocks, not once, not twice, but every night at the exact same time, 2:33 a.m. I recorded them the third night. Played the file back over and over, trying to make sense of it. They weren't just knocks, they were measured. 3 slow knocks, 1 fast, then silence, and always right under the same spot on the living room floor. Dead center. I pulled the rug back, ripped the tile up with a crowbar. There was wood underneath, old and rotted. I tapped it back. 3 slow, 1 fast. For the first time since Mia vanished, I got a reply. 3 slow, 1 fast. I found the hatch again, not the one in the laundry room. That one stayed sealed shut like a mouth that had already fed. This one was beneath the floorboards, under the tiles. No latch, no handle. Just an old wooden square smeared with something black and sticky. I stared at it for an hour before I opened it. Below, darkness. The kind that sucks in light like it's hungry. And the smell? Salt, mold, rot, and something sweet beneath it all. I dropped a flashlight in. It never hit the ground, just blinked out. But when I whispered Mia's name, the knocks came again, this time from below. 3 slow, 1 fast. I started researching. Old Morse, forgotten naval codes, seance patterns. Came across a forum for abandoned structures and underground cryptography. One user messaged me, said the pattern matched an old distress signal used by Cold War submarine crews. Are you safe? I didn't reply to the user. I didn't have to, because the answer was already coming up through the floor. Night after night. 3 slow, 1 fast. She's asking me, are you safe? Last night, I fell asleep in the living room, curled up on the torn-up floor, with my flashlight and crowbar. I woke up to breathing. Not mine, not human. Wet, heavy, slow. I opened my eyes and the hatch was open, and there was a hand on the edge. Long fingers, too many joints, nails like burnt glass. But here's the thing, I wasn't afraid, because wrapped around its wrist was something I recognized. A friendship bracelet. Mia made it for me back in high school. Purple and green. Faded now. But it was hers. Still is. I don't know what this thing is, if it's still Mia, if it ever was. But I'm going down there. I've packed a bag, rope, flashlights, recorder, enough food and water for 3 days. I'll leave this journal entry open on my computer. If I don't update within 72 hours, assume I've joined her. Or it. Whatever waits beneath this house isn't done with me. And somehow, I think I've always been part of it. This is not written on my laptop. This is being scribbled, fast, messy, into a journal I brought with me. If someone finds this, please don't stop reading. I'm alive, but I don't know if I'll stay that way. Not here. I went through the hatch the night of the last entry. Rope tied to the old radiator in the living room. Backpack clipped tight. Flashlight taped to my wrist. I dropped down and kept falling. It wasn't a crawl space. It was a tunnel, too narrow for comfort, but just wide enough to move. Earth pressed in on both sides. But there were boards. Old hand-cut wooden supports. Some cracked. Some with deep scratch marks across them, like claws, or fingernails had dug through. The tunnel curved, spiraled, tilted down at an unnatural slope, like gravity itself was leaning wrong. My flashlight flickered. That's when I heard it again. 3 slow knocks, 1 fast. Only this time, they weren't behind me. They were ahead, waiting. Yes, there are rooms down here. The first one I found had furniture in it. Moldy, ancient, a rocking chair, a twin bed with frayed sheets, and a photograph nailed to the wall. It was of me. You don't understand, it was a school picture. From 5th grade. Same awful sweater, same dumb haircut. But this photo, I've never seen it before. There was something written on the back, in pencil. He didn't want to forget you, so I left this here. I didn't know what it meant. Then I saw the next room. The second room was filled with cassette tapes, scattered across the dirt like leaves, each labeled in handwriting I recognized. Mia's. I played one on an old recorder I found on a shelf. Her voice crackled through static. If you're hearing this, I guess I'm gone too. But I'm not dead, not exactly. This house, it doesn't end. It folds in on itself. The basement keeps changing. It keeps remembering. Then her voice drops. It took pieces of us, you know? It needed something familiar. I think it made copies of people, of memories. That's why I keep hearing your voice, even when I know it's not you. A whisper in the background cut through the static. 3 slow, 1 fast. I turned off the recorder. I swear to you this is true. I found a hallway lined with doors, dozens of them. Some open, some slammed shut, and scratching from the inside. One was covered in children's drawings. Stick figures holding hands. A house. A dog. Another had "Don't open" scrawled over and over again in what looked like charcoal or dried blood. The third, it had my name etched into the wood. Over and over and over. Hundreds of times. Some etched with something sharp. Others traced with a fingertip. And I could hear breathing behind it. Ragged, labored, hungry. The last room I found that night had a mirror. Old, cracked, blackened at the edges. When I looked into it, I saw myself, but not. The reflection smiled when I didn't. It stepped away from the mirror. But I didn't move. Then it whispered something. Mouth moving too slow. Like it had to remember how to form words. You'll stay. It's your turn. Then the reflection lifted its hand. 3 slow knocks, 1 fast, and the mirror shattered. But my reflection didn't. It just kept staring at me. from the other side of the broken glass. I don't know how long I've been down here anymore. Time folds. The air hums. My flashlight died yesterday, but the walls, they glow now. Just faintly. Like phosphorescent moss that breathes when you don't look. I haven't seen Mia, but I've heard her voice. Sometimes crying, sometimes laughing, sometimes screaming, and sometimes whispering right behind my ear. If I don't get out, someone needs to know. This house is a throat, and it remembers every name it's ever swallowed. Mine's next. I don't know how long I stand in front of it. The door of bone doesn't move, doesn't breathe like the rest of the tunnel walls. It's still, like it's waiting for something or someone. The symbols above it are glowing now, faintly, like bruises just beneath the skin of the earth. Mia's voice is closer than ever, still singing, still soft. But there's something off about it now. It sounds like her mouth is too wide, like her voice is echoing from somewhere deeper inside her. Still, I open the door. It doesn't creak. It doesn't resist. It splits open with a wet, tearing sound, like cartilage. What's behind it? A stairwell, spiraling downward, not made of stone, not dirt. It's made of teeth. I take the first step, and I feel something shift behind me. I don't turn around. I can't. Each step I take echoes in the dark. But the sound is wrong. It comes back to me delayed, warped, like it's bouncing off a space that doesn't exist yet. And then I hear footsteps, not mine, coming up from below. I stop. So do they. My flashlight flickers. I keep walking. The stairs end in a chamber that stretches further than my light can reach. It's not a room, not exactly. It's more like an open wound in the world. There are objects floating in the dark, familiar things. The dining room chair I accidentally broke last week. The old mirror I left behind at the apartment. Mia's favorite coffee mug, all just hanging there in the dark, as if memory and space and time are folding in on themselves. Then I see her, standing at the center of the void. Her back is to me, hair matted and damp. Dip, skin too pale. She's wearing the hoodie she stole from me 2 years ago. The one I thought I'd lost in the move. Mia? She doesn't turn. Mia, it's me, Garrett. She speaks, not with her mouth. Her voice is everywhere. In the walls, in my ears, in my bones. You shouldn't have come. They don't like visitors. There are more voices now. Hundreds, thousands, whispering just out of reach. I see them, forms crawling in the darkness beyond her, limbs that bend the wrong way, mouths where there shouldn't be mouths. They don't move like humans. They don't see like humans. They surround her like worshippers. But they don't kneel. They twitch. And then she finally turns. It's her face. But it's not her face. Her smile is too wide. Her eyes have too many pupils. And she speaks again. You came to find me, so now you'll stay with me forever. I'm not typing this anymore. I'm writing it on the wall with charcoal and blood. I don't remember how I got back to the house. The sun never rises here. The clocks don't tick. I can hear movement in the vents, in the walls, beneath the floorboards. I think the door is still open. Sometimes I can still hear her singing, but it's not a lullaby anymore. It's a warning for whoever comes next.